There's like lots of information I'm Sarah Dania. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Fantastic. Great. So, let me exciting time. That's overwhelming. It's like lots of options. Like going through that process. Just like we're gonna find the right fit. You're not ready to do with options. Yeah, those get excited. Make sure you're ready. Yeah, so yeah, exciting. Hi, how are you guys? Good to see you. Oh yeah. No, yes, like project survey and a big yeah, exactly. Yes, Lakeside is like so great. Yes.
I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, me too. I see that. Shameless, like, I'll take
Yeah, we would have these wonderful. And what was the time they had to mask on and people show up like. Well, this is we just didn't. But now, but then I can't see it.
That's what I just thought it was serious.
What did you say?
Good evening, everybody. Microphone is not to amplify my voice, but rather we're taping this so we can have some of our people who have a JV field hockey game that they're attending, or others that couldn't be here this evening. So welcome, everybody. It was amazing to see some of you. When Raj walked in, I was like, you're here too early. Like, you still have another year left before high school. And so it's amazing how time goes, and all of a sudden your child's ready for the upper school. And welcome, everybody. We have a combination of collegiate families and families who are thinking about collegiates. It's a nice time to hear more about our upper school. And so I just want to give you a little bit about myself and a little bit of like, oh my gosh, how did I get here? So it was about 35 years ago where I was working at Payne Weber in New York City, and my soccer coach called me and said, Rob, you got to come coach and teach. And so I was like, I'm going to business school. And he said, come just for 2 years. And so I went out to Pingree, my alma mater, and I was there for 17 years and coaching soccer, hockey, and lacrosse, and teaching economics and math and computer science, and spending basically 17 years with upper school students. And so I have 4 of my own. My youngest is a junior in college. So I have spent a lot of time with upper school or high school students. And the one thing that I'm nervous to report, or that's hard to report, is I think it's gotten harder to be a teenager. I think it's gotten harder to work your way through the trials and tribulations of the upper school. Some of it's societal, some of it has to do with these, like I can grab my phone and think about how much this has changed our children's worlds, how it's rocked our children's worlds, how information is very, very different in terms of education. What does information mean, and what do we need to do to change and as schools? And so what I think collegiate's doing really well is contemplating what do we need to do differently as a school to adapt to this new era of just constant and easy information and constant news cycles and ability to get on and get into these dangerous places that we can get into in the internet. And so some of you are new to collegiate, some of you have been here for a long time, and I think our upper school does a really, really great job with this. Those of you that have been here with me, we've been talking about the climate and culture of the school. What does it feel like to walk into Louisville Collegiate? What does it feel like to walk into our upper school? And so you're in for a treat tonight, because I think it's a really, really special place. And I think the most important thing about how special our upper school is this work that we've been striving towards, is transformative relationships. And you're going to hear from our leadership team, or some of our leadership team, about the specifics about how things work in the upper school, be specific about some courses and how things happen, college guidance and our counseling program. But it really comes down to transformative relationships. And so what is your children's relationship with their teachers? How are they interacting with each other? What is the culture of the school? Is it cool to care? Is it cool to be a good kid, to be a good student, to really want to connect with the community? And so I feel really blessed to be working with Sarah Gahan, who I hired 2 years ago as the head of the upper school. And I was talking to 2 different teachers. So one who's been here about 25 years, and then one's been here about 9 years. And they both said, Rob, I don't think collegiate's ever been in a better spot. And I think that that's talking about the culture and climate of the school, what it feels like to be here. And so you're in for a treat tonight to get a sense of, well, how are we making this magic happen? So Sarah's the leader of that, but then what a great team we have. And then finally, I've been lucky enough to be teaching a class to sophomores. We call it Wayfinder, but it's to help them find their purpose and meaning. And I'm teaching some mindfulness and meditation to sophomores to help them learn more about themselves and also help them understand how to find calm and how to find a little bit more inner peace. And so really been, I'm feeling blessed that I'm working with these kids and getting to know the whole sophomore class this year, and I got to know the whole sophomore class last year. So it's been a real treat in that capacity to get to know the students and just how wonderful they are. And again, it's that sense of culture and climate of the school, and that it becomes contagious to be excited about being a member of the collegiate community and being excited about coming to school every day. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Sarah, who's going to tell you more about her upper school. So thank you all very much.
Friends, okay. Oh, thank you. Okay, that would be so helpful. Okay, I'm gonna stay here. Rob said about my upper school, I think the first thing that I want to say to all of you all is that this is our upper school. And that is what the magic is because this is a place that is so pivotal and impactful because of the people who are in it. And part of that is you all. And so I first want to thank you guys for coming tonight and getting all of this information. We're about to give you a lot because we want you to have the information you need to make the decision that you feel like is right for your child. But the other people, you know, I think are part of this community. It just makes it come alive. And when I think about what makes upper school special, it is the faculty that are surrounding me. But Megan is going to put some images up on the board. It's the high schoolers that fill our, thank you, that fill our halls every day, our classrooms every day. I was actually just coming from the middle school cross country banquet, and the middle schoolers were so cute. They were dressed up and, you know, so excited about the middle school banquet. And I was sitting there as a parent and I was thinking to myself, like, I am so grateful for the middle school cross country coaches and middle school teachers who just know and love middle schoolers, right? And I just love upper schoolers. Like, I mean, I love middle school. Don't get me wrong. I'm a parent and I'm just like, but I am saying thank you so much to the people who just wrap their arms around middle school. And I can tell you, like, we love upper schoolers. High schoolers, they are interesting. They are curious. They are dynamic. They are fun. They want to have fun. They are thoughtful. They're serious. They're introspective. They grow so much during these 4 years. And we have the privilege of being a part of that growth. And so do you. And what we try to do here is just provide this amazingly inspiring community with you, with our faculty, with these kids, that is going to give them the most transformative 4 years of their life. Hopefully so far, maybe in general. But we want them to get up every morning and say, I can't wait to get to school. And walk through the doors of this school and feel immediately known, feel like their impact is felt, is known, is positive, is important. We want them to know that the person that they are when they walk through those doors as a ninth grader, we know that person and we love that person. And we want to get to know who do they want to become. We're going to listen a lot and we're going to support them a lot. And we're going to help them explore and discover, connect, collaborate, learn, just grow in so many different ways so that they can continue to become the person that they want to become. And we get so much joy and happiness from that process. Those relationships that Rob talked about, that's at the heart of collegiate, and that is at the heart of the upper school too. It is the relationships that are so pivotal to this learning. Students feel safe. They feel like they know they're loved. They know the people in this community, and they know that they can take care of each other and be taken care of. And within that space, they just continue to blossom into these amazingly beautiful people who are interested in so many different things. And that's what you're going to learn about tonight, is all of the different things that we try to provide for them in terms of opportunities that are going to allow them to figure out, who am I in this world? What is this world that I'm walking into, right? And how do I make an impact in that space that's going to be really positive and meaningful to me, right? Positive to everybody else, but meaningful to me. So what we're going to do tonight is we're going to pull back the curtain a little bit and show you some of the things that we do in the upper school that we feel like makes it really special. And one of the things, so yeah, so the first set of slides was, sorry, Megan, I'm kind of jumping around here. That's okay. The first set of slides was just showing you some of the spirit, some of the life, the student life that I feel like, yes. Okay, so this was just the other night at the soccer game. These were all kind of pretty recent. This is our club fair. We've got lots of relationships with our JK through, middle school students here. Those relationships are so meaningful to our upper schoolers. And then obviously the relationships with the faculty. There are just opportunities everywhere they look for those connections, right? For that feeling of being a part of something special, that they can become the person they want to become within a space that, has something bigger than themselves, and they feel a part of that. And so in addition to the student life that we feel like kind of brings this joy and this fun to the high school experience and allows them to be excited about this learning, we also have all of these really wonderful learning opportunities. So Megan, if we can go to the next few pictures here. So service learning is a really important component of the upper school, and we incorporate that into our daily schedule. We try to get our students off campus as much as possible, especially now after the pandemic, really showing them the community that they're a part of outside of the collegiate community. They are hungry for those experiences together. And then these are some of the different learning opportunities that we have. We learn in classrooms really well. Our schedule makes sense for upper schoolers. We also get out and do lots of creative things when it comes to learning. So a few of these images here, this is our EPS class that went to Logan Street Market a couple weeks ago and pitched a solution. EPS, entrepreneurial problem solving. Thank you for asking. So we have an entrepreneurial class where students are able to work with the local organization or company and basically problem solve some of the topics that are on their plate and pitch an idea for them to use in their business. So that's Logan Street. We've got obviously college counseling, lots of college counseling, small groups. Molly will talk more about that soon. This is our AP Psych class a couple weeks ago where they had to do things that were unconventional and not social norms, right? So they spent the entire day in each individual class just breaking social norms everywhere. So they first picked up all the chairs and went down and had class in the middle of Tate Atrium, right? And then they performed a wedding in the middle of class. It was like crazy. But I think what is really fun is that our students feel like we're not just sitting and learning and just kind of getting this experience. We are creating this experience together. We are a part of this. And what I'm so excited about is that I'm looking at here at this amazing group of parents, and I'm like, your kids are going to have an impact on the upper school that we don't even know yet, because they're them. Like, they haven't come to the upper school yet. We're going to change because of them. And we can't wait for them. Every year when our new ninth graders come in, we're like, what's going to happen? How are we going to continue to grow and learn as an upper school because of this class of ninth graders? And so for them to feel that, like, yes, I'm having and playing a role right now, and I'm going to continue to have that opportunity and that leadership role throughout my upper school experience is really, I think, at the core of who we are. Okay, so one other thing, if you can go to the next slide. This is a little bit more of like, how do we do it? And so this is the upper school schedule, and it'll look similar to the middle school schedule for those of you who are current middle school parents. But the reason why I put this up here is because this schedule allows our students the opportunities every day to have the conversations, to go deeper into their learning, to connect with each other. This is the structure that allows that magic to happen. So you'll see that each of our classes are 75 minutes long. And so what's happening in each of our classes is a deep dive. We go as far as we can in every 75-minute block. And we're breaking those classes up into manageable segments. So they're not sitting there for 75 minutes, right? We're doing 5 or 6 or 10 different activities during that 75-minute block that are all helping expand that learning. And then in between each 75-minute block, we have at least 20 minutes where the students are transitioning and doing different things that are outside of the academic experience in the classroom. We have a really meaningful advisory program that meets every day for 15 minutes after second block, right? So your student is going to be part of a 4-year advisory group that stays together for 4 years with a faculty member that becomes hopefully like another family member to you all. And that becomes another little family, another group for them in the upper school. And then we have clubs and activities period where they can play, or they can go deep dive with quick recall. They can explore mock trial. They have so many different opportunities during that block. And then we have the amazing lunches that you guys have heard a lot about. But what's important here is that what we do is we are constantly thinking about how do we set up our students for success and for joy, right? How do we continue to create these opportunities for them to take off and just really kind of shine in front of us? And that's the work, but that's also just, again, the gift of being in the upper school. And I think all of the faculty feel that, that this is a privilege for us to be a part of this growth with students. So I'm going to turn it over right now to Julianne Dietz, who is going to talk about our upper school social emotional learning program, to tell you a little bit more about how we're supporting students in terms of their whole self. And then I'm going to introduce really fast. Molly Prince, our Director of College Counseling, is going to talk about college counseling. William Sutherland back there, Dean of Student Life. He is running so many different things. I can't wait for you all to hear about, but just really, again, kind of allowing students to take on those leadership roles to make wonderful things happen. And then Megan Scharfenberger, our Dean of Academic Programs in the upper school, who knows every tiny little detail about every academic part of our school. And then Tracy Rucker, who teaches French, our Global Citizens coordinator in the back, who's going to talk to us as well. So we've got a whole lineup for you.
All-star lineup right
Yeah.
here. Yeah.
And this is just a taste. I wish I could, have everybody here because it really is like a family. And I want your students to feel that from the beginning. And I want you to feel that too. This is a relationship. We know every kid's name by the end of the first week. Like a small community, we do that, right? We know every kid's name by the end of the first week and we call them by name for the rest of their time. And we want that same relationship with you. That's really important, that we are continuing to partner with you along this journey because it is a really special time. It can be an overwhelming time. There's a lot that's going to happen in these 4 years. And we want to be a part of it with you. We're here, we're going to partner, and we're going to support, we're going to listen. All of these roles are really important to us, and we are excited about this relationship that's hopefully just starting. So I'll turn it over to you, Julian. Thank you.
Speaking of family, I think like right now, my whole family, I think, is in the gym. Grandma, my husband, my 2 kids who are middle schoolers here, hanging out because they spent all day here with their kids and they're happy to be back here. I've been a counselor here at Collegiate for a year. I've been a counselor for 15 years, but my family moved into Louisville a year ago. We were looking for a school for me to work at, a school for my kids to attend. And what really pulls me into Collegiate was that I wanted a small community for my family and for myself, but we were coming from abroad. We also didn't want to feel like we were just having a local experience. And I think that's something that's so wonderful about Collegiate is that we have kids that have been here since JK, but we also have kids who were born in Africa, who come from Ukraine, so I'll have a lunch group with a bunch of girls and 2 have been here from JK and one was, grew up and moved away and then came back. So it's just such a full experience. And I've been so grateful to be a part of that. And I think our students, and I think you really, really feel them in the upper school because these kids really want to get a sense for that as they get older, that their community is bigger than their school, but they also feel safe and they can learn in their school. And feeling safe is really important to me. We know after COVID, right, there's been lots of gaps for students that 18-year-olds, seem a little bit younger. They didn't get to have as many of those little micro experiences when things slowed down with COVID, when they weren't with their peers. Last year, we spent a lot of time, Sarah and I were both new in our roles. We spent a lot of time looking at what our students needed and listening to the experts, listening to professionals in other schools, polling our students, talking to our parents, and finding out what our students really need. So this year, we continue to have individual and group counseling. We have a doctoral level intern that is helping to support us this year that we brought in to support students. And we'll continue. I teach character class, which this year we're really focusing on mental health. So my 9th graders are taking a class with me right now on the foundations of mental health. So what does mental health mean for everyone? What's some stigma around mental health and how do we support each other? My sophomores take a co-ed class like Rob was talking about, and my class is focused on resilience. So that little picture that was down the bottom was my class, and that was my sophomores and the 3rd grade class. We got together to build stories around resilience. So picking characters, it was the final part of my students' class, and we worked with a 3rd grade partner to build stories about resilience and how to support each other. My juniors will take a class on strategies for mental health, and my seniors will take classes with me on leadership within mental health. So how do they take what they learned, what they're building, and bring it to our entire school community? The SEL program for this year, we've tried to layer some new opportunities for students to focus on what they need. The first half of the year has been focused on healthy self. So we talk about things like getting enough sleep, substances can impact the developing brain, We talk about activation skills, how to be organized, time management. We focus on suicide prevention. And then for the third quarter, we're focusing on healthy relationships. And healthy relationships is all about community, connection, conversations, how to deal with conflict, right? That's something that was a huge gap for these students that especially were in middle school, when you really start to build those conflict resolution skills, those communication skills, and they weren't necessarily together for that early part of middle school experience to be able to become comfortable, and also the impact that cell phones have had on that. So we're going to work as a school community to build that. And then fourth quarter is really building community. So looking at diversity, equity, and inclusion, looking at kindness and service and how they serve ourselves, but also serve our entire community, building culture. And Wellness Foundations is a new program that we've added this year for our ninth graders, again, layering that social emotional learning support. And it's looking at students holistically, what they need in regards to health and wellness. So our students are taking 18 different classes, or 18 classes during their lifetime fitness and wellness, which is their PE class on health and wellness. So we want to just really give our ninth graders a huge foundation so that they really, like Sarah said, you know, when a smaller school, when a whole grade comes in, they really can change a dynamic of the whole school culture. And I love seeing that last year, seeing how the ninth graders impact. So next year, this year, next year, we're really working on our ninth graders and making sure they feel healthy and supported, and they have strategies as they move up. And that's everything for social emotional learning that we're working on this year. I need someone to be my clicker.
I can do it. But Miss Anderson has told me I have to stay at the microphone, and if anyone knows me in the ring, that's not going to happen. But I promise you I will try. So I'm Megan Sharpenberger, and I actually wear several different hats in the building. So one, I am the Dean of Academic Programs, so I will do everybody's scheduling here if you enroll with us in the upper school. So you will see a lot of me, you will hear a lot of me, I send a lot of emails to you, and we will work closely with one another. So this will not be the last time you see my name. I'm also the 12th grade dean, and I'm an upper school history instructor. So I came here 8 years ago. I think this is the beginning of my 8th year. And I came from the large public school system here. So I was at the JCPS system. And as Julianne talking about what pulled her in, the reason I got pulled in here is because I grew up in a K-12 school setting, and I wanted that same experience for my own children because I saw just the wealth of resources and support, social emotional care, academic relationships with teachers, and I wanted the same for my children. And I got to say that, you know, Collegiate has by far exceeded my expectations in terms of a program, not only for a place for me to work, but also for my own children who all attend here. So that's just a little bit of background. So why I'm talking to you tonight is because I will basically walk you through the process of your student being enrolled, getting acclimated, and settled into kind of the upper school experience. And I could talk for about 4 hours about the different programs and different classes. Like Ms. Gahan said, I can talk to you logistically about every single piece of our curriculum, but I don't have that much time. So I try to get this down to a couple of slides. But when I thought about what I want you as a parent, this is what I would want to hear. You know, every school offers, you know, a variety of class options, you know, advanced level, honors level, you know, what kind of programs you have. You're going to hear that from everyone. But this is what sets us apart. And this is why I send my own children here. And this is why I love coming to work every day. And it really comes down to these 4 things: intentional curriculum design. Ms. Gahan already kind of did this talk for me, but we adapt, we amend based off our students. We meet our students where they are. You know, with COVID, we've all kind of looked at our curriculum and said, okay, really, what's important here? Okay, what are the small details that we can get rid of? Where do we need to go to meet our students where they are? And I would say as an upper school faculty, we are exceptional at doing that. We collaborate, we're constantly redesigning and rethinking our programs and our classes, and that includes our graduation requirement classes. So your honors biology teachers have worked diligently in the last 3 years to really tailor that curriculum to what really needs to be done for those students to kind of know biology and actually walk away with critical thinking skills and reading skills and, you know, all that stuff that they're going to need to actually be an active participant in the 21st century world. We do that in all of our classes. Most of our classes have more than one teacher that teaches it. So we're constantly working with one another to evaluate what works, what doesn't, what can we change. And a really good feature, I think, of a lot of our classes, we ask students for feedback. What worked? What didn't? I know Mr. Travis, at the end of every single assessment he gives in his class, he's asking them reflection questions. What did you get? What can I do to improve? Okay. What did you like the most? Okay. So we want student feedback in terms of, you know, are we meeting your needs? Okay. So we truly are collaborative, not just teachers, but we collaborate with the students too about what works in our curriculum and what we can do better. I think the second thing is really personalized course of study. And this will be important for you all as parents. We know that all ninth graders don't come in the same shape and form, right? They all think differently. You know, they all have different interests. And what we really try to do is take each individual kid and kind of say, this is what works for you, might not work for you. So let's put you in these classes. Let's put you in these classes. That is a massive collaborative effort that includes parents, students, teachers, advisors, college counselors. We do not miss a beat in terms of placing your child in the right class. There are so many different steps to our process. We spend pretty much from the beginning of January to May, making sure that every kid is enrolled in the right classes for them. Okay, so we're constantly communicating with families and definitely the voice of the student. What you want your story to be. Okay, what classes make sense to you? What you want to be challenged in? Okay, what are you interested in? What do you think you might not be interested in, but let's take it anyways. Let's see what happens, right? All of that kind of happens in our kind of course selection process. Okay, so as eighth graders, okay, whether you are already here at collegiate or whether you go to a different school, you will work with me. You are more than welcome to reach out to college counseling if you already have college questions, and I know she'll talk about that this evening, but I'm probably a great resource for you. So if you have questions about like, well, this is kind of what my kid's interested in, this is where they are right now, what do you think is, you know, kind of the course of study for your child? We're more than happy and we welcome the opportunity to collaborate with you all through that process, even as incoming ninth graders, because we understand that this is a really big transition for you. And we want your child to be successful. We want them to feel good about being in their classes. We want them to feel confident about doing the work independently, okay? And we want them to thrive. So we need to collaborate to kind of make sure that they're in the right environment to thrive. Authentic relationship building. Like this is the cornerstone of, I think, all of our programs. We know every single kid. I know every single one of my students. In fact, most of my students I've taught 2 or 3 times at this point, whether they like it or not, they have me. It was really funny. I had a kid this year who I'd not taught before. He went all the way to a senior year without having me as a teacher, which is really hard to do. It's really hard to avoid me as a teacher. And he comes up to me at the end of the first class. He's like, we know each other, but we really don't know each other. He's like, I need to get to know you a little bit more. And we sat down, we had a 20-minute conversation. It was kind of more of an interview. Like I felt like I was being interviewed, but it was awesome because I had not had that opportunity to get that authentic relationship building with the student because I hadn't taught him before. I worked with him on his classes. I worked with him on his course study, but I hadn't actually gotten to know a personal side of it yet. And that's the beauty because our schedule allows that to happen. Just 75 minutes with your students. A lot of time to get to know them. We're small. It's another opportunity to get to know them. We have so many breaks during the day and kids are just wandering in your room all the time, right? Asking you questions. They want to get to know us. We want to get to know them, and that's why they're successful. No kid falls through the cracks here. We know who they are. They can't hide, okay? Even if they want to, we know where to find them, okay? And then the last one is small by design. If you were here for open house, you saw our classrooms. they're not big. There's a reason they're not big. It's not because we ran out of space. It's because we want to be small by design. My largest class this year is 14. When I taught freshmen, my largest class was 16. Okay, so we are in intimate settings with each other. We know each other really well. Okay, so that small by design, to me, that's why I do what I do here. Because I think the best learning happens when like I'm sitting with my students in a round table and there's only 12 of us in the room. Everyone's voice is heard. Everyone feels like they're a part of it. Everyone feels that spirit of community, right? And this is why we're small by design. Okay, academic programming. Again, I do not have time to go through all of this stuff, but if you want to read the 75-page course catalog when we release it, it's an awesome read, but for a lot of you, you might not actually want to spend the time doing that. Even though we put a lot of work into that document, I gotta say, Ms. Gahan, we really do put a lot of work in that document. But we have such a wide range of programs, and I love it. And I think Ms. Gahan kind of touched on this. Who your child is as an incoming ninth grader is not who they will be when they leave. And I love the students who come and like, oh, I'm going to take every single STEM class you offer. I'm going to get to advanced physics C by the time I'm a junior, right? And then that student ends up being an advanced studio art instead. Okay, so we have that opportunity in our schedule and the flexibility in our schedule where students can really explore, and that is what we want them to do. We don't want them to know who they are as a ninth grader. They're 14. They don't, right? We want to give them that opportunity to take something and maybe fail. Not fail class, but like we want them to make mistakes, right? We want them to try different things. We want them to not be scared to try something different or out of their comfort zone. And we give that opportunity to improve a wide range of programs. One of the things I would say I would highlight here is our independent studies. We have so many students who take a class with a teacher that they absolutely love, or in a field that they absolutely love, and they want to continue to grow that interest. We offer the opportunity, talk about personalized instruction. Students here create their own classes. So right now we've got a creative writing independent study. We've got one on Colombian history. I've taught one on political ideology before. We've always had a wide range of French ones that we've done, film, cuisine, classical, guitar, independent studies. So by the time students become juniors or seniors, if they have a passion or interest, they can partner with the teacher, and then they kind of own their own curriculum. They create it, and then they're accountable for it throughout the year. And that's a wonderful opportunity for our kids. Okay, so I don't like to get into the logistics tonight, but just for your information, if you enroll, which we hope you do, current 8th graders, we will start your process of enrollment pretty much early February and early March. That whole kind of February through mid-March is an opportunity for you to meet with me. You can meet with Ms. Gahan, you can meet with College Counseling, meet with the 8th grade teachers, and talk about what the potential schedules might look like for the following year. If you are a new family, typically we start that process in early spring. You don't miss anything. We need to make sure that we have all of your records. We look at them. We get your teachers' recommendations about what they think is best for you. And so that process is a little bit different than the ones who are currently already here. But placement in all classes, regardless of whether you're new or current, are all kind of based on this: teacher recommendations, sequencing of classes, consultation with teachers, but the most important one is interest. We really do want to know what interests your child. Okay, what direction, if they have a direction that they're thinking about, how do we get them there? A lot of times when I meet with families, the thing that we end up doing and spending our time with is that they come in and they'll be like, okay, this is the 9th grade year. Let's just, play around. What might this mean for 11th grade year? And we kind of play sequence, right? They have lots of different pathways that students can take, and that gets them really excited about the options that they have. Okay, so our math department and our science department chair are not here this evening, but because I do most of this work, a lot of this work, I can speak to it. Most of our new parents, their questions really end up being around math. And then I also want to highlight science. just because the math sequencing, there are lots of different places that your child can start. We had students start in Algebra 1, Geometry, Algebra 2, Accelerated Algebra 2, Accelerated Pre-Calculus. I think those are all the ones that freshmen have done in the last few years since I've been doing scheduling. So again, that we meet your child where they are, this already comes into play their freshman year. We want to know where they've been, what their comfort level is, their independence level with the math, and then we put them in the right spot. Okay, and I will say this, we get this right pretty well. Our math department chair is meticulous about putting kids in the right spots where they're going to feel confident in the math work that they're doing. And then I am not going to attempt to walk you through this. Yeah, of course, a science teacher put this chart together. This is not me. But I do like the graphic in that it does show you the different pathways that your child can take. So even as a freshman, there are 3 different pathways that a child can take in science in the 9th grade year. And it doesn't make them like go into one direction. It doesn't mean that they can't deviate into a different direction. We have so many different lines in layers to the science department, just alone the science department, that we will try to find the right spot for your child. And there are lots of different options. So I like this because if I were to show you a history one, it would look similar to this. There's so many different pathways you can take with that. Okay, there's so many different pathways you can take with math. There's so many different pathways you can do with fine art. So every department has their own kind of way in kind of choosing the right path for your child. And I think that's it for me. Yes, so now I'm going to turn it over to Mr.
Thank you, Ms. Schaumburger. Thank you so much. Good evening. Bonjour. Konnichiwa. Hola. In 1989, a very tall 16-year-old young man from Atlanta walked into a French class, and the teacher just started using French. I almost cried. In 1989, when I finally had the courage to repeat phrases like bonjour, je m'appelle Tracy, actually it's Théophile, and est-ce que je peux aller aux toilettes? Didn't really need to go, but I wanted to get out of the room. I realized that communication was an important factor in my language class and thus the experience of being a language student. As a 10th grade kid who had not ventured outside the confines of northern and central Georgia, I didn't quite have the wherewithal to understand how much cultural diversity and communication mattered. Months and years later, I am thrilled to be part of a world language department at Louisville Collegiate School that values proficiency and comprehensible input. Nuggets from songs, readers, and meaningful conversations solidify through the process of being actively engaged in learning. Just chew on that. And in time, students create with language, offer opinions, and they stretch their speech in ways that contribute to their personal growth. This is far beyond the experiences that Madame Miller, who is now 87 years old, my mentor of all time, provided for us. It was a very different time. It was not 2022, it was 1989. And that has led me to be increasingly involved in communication because exposure and exchanges drive our learning classes as we encourage learners to interact with a myriad of audiovisual and written materials centered around art and language. That is our language department. And that was perfect. Yes. All right, I am very happy to talk about a program that I'm super passionate about, and it's called the Global Citizens Program. Learn, engage, connect, and serve. Those are our power words. For me, it's always either 4 or 7, right? You see either 4 or 7 words. Those are the 4 for the Global Citizens Program. Students that engage in this program are committed to creating global opportunities for themselves. those opportunities are then going to nurture them so that they can become more globally proficient and more culturally proficient. And in the process of those two proficiency benchmarks, they become more social and emotional, I'll just do it that way, creatures that really respect all things global. If you're interested in world events, cultural explorations, how cultural connections are made, and international realities, the Global Citizens Program is just for your son, daughter. It is for them. Students apply to be members of the Collegiate Global Citizens Program because they intend to complete 30 hours of community service by their senior year. They also participate in globally themed clubs like the French Club, the Spanish Club, Xenophiles, and CUNA, KYA as well. Participants are also required to engage in substantial international experiences. That's why global trips are important. Attend at least 8 lectures and complete a capstone project that demonstrate what they have accomplished over the 4 years of study. This is a unique program. And as coordinator, I support students as they endeavor to get involved in a multitude of opportunities for cultural engagement, such as World Fest, Festival of Faiths, Need to We Day, and other events like Chili Fest that could work because there were several groups that performed with a global feature to them. So there are lots and lots of ways for students to get involved. At the nucleus of this program, student independence thrives. And that leads me to my final slide. A key component of education is travel. Since travel is an integral part of our learning processes, our global opportunities provide learners with a unique opportunity to view the world, especially to get them outside of our local community. Travel opens up pathways for communication, cultural exploration, global literacy, and lifelong learning. All of those connections are made. I am happy to simply let you know that this year, one of my colleagues here, Monsieur, is going to Espagne. He's going to be right down. Let me see if I can look at this. Okay, yes, way over here. He's going to be down in the south, and I'm going to be up a little bit further in France with the group of students. And then in 2024, we have other colleagues who are going to Japan and Greece. This is an integral part of our program because Ms. Gay had talked about commitment, and some other people talked about social emotional learning. And all of this to me really makes up the conglomerate of Louisville Collegiate. So thank you for listening, and I hope that you become part of our community very soon. Merci beaucoup. Au revoir. Add your it.
That was a good lead-in. All right, everybody, thank you for being here. My name is William Sutherland, and when I was thinking about how to introduce what I do here as Dean of Student Life, I remember this thing I learned as a kid. I thought it was pretty cool. You guys know that Disney World doesn't call their engineers. Oh, and that Imagineers, right? I thought that was so cool because engineers, you can create roller coasters and make sure that everything runs safely. But at Disney World, the Imagineers, yes, they make roller coasters. Yes, they make these slides. Yes, they make these incredible rides. They also create an idea. They create a culture. They create a feeling. They create Disney World is the happiest place on earth. Okay? And the way I see that connecting to what I do here is, yes, I can be the dean, right? I can make sure that we have rides and roller coasters and things for our students. But what I really want to create, though, is culture. Create connection. Create connection points. I want to create what I call the dark home. So one of the ways that we do that, is through the advisory program. Can we create connection by surrounding your students with people who love what they do? And I was in the hiring process, I kept on hearing about one of the great things about collegiate is the culture, right? Is what we have built here, this small school, this great culture. And I asked, okay, how did you build that? The person who was interviewed said, Well, we hire people. That and I got over our 2-year-old, the idea that I can drop her off to JK and then walk to class. I cannot wait for that to happen. So, jump back just 1 second. I just want to highlight, I know Ms. Gahan already said this, but the way this advisory program works is that it's, right, you need to create this family, a connection. My vision here, this is putting love into these kids, creating that sense of connection, heart to heart. Okay? But if you jump to the club slide, I also want to create connection points, right? I want students to go out and reach that connection. I want them to tether themselves to other things. Okay, so one of the things about our clubs is that there's levels to them. Right? You can kind of be like a buffet. Just go and sample what you want. Their Monday, their Wednesday, their Friday. You can do a different club every single day. Or you can go full in on the main course. You know you're a steak guy. You can order a steak and you can dive into a club that's more like a sports team than anything else. Okay, so you can choose your own adventure here. We want to give opportunity to these students to find what they care about and then create the time and the space and the people surrounding them to make that a reality. Just some slides of examples of that. Another thing I want to create, guys, I want to create opportunities for students to put themselves out there, to challenge themselves to achieve things. One of the ways I found to envision that is through leadership development and opportunity. For your students to become the best versions of themselves. Okay? There's front of the line leadership, like being a pep club, showing up at the games, donning the Titan and Amazon costumes, raising the sword high and really getting the crowd going. Okay, there's grabbing the mic during morning meetings, which is the role that our Senate president and vice president, student facing. There's also behind the scenes leadership. One of the most important things about this community is that it's completely honored down. This is a trust. That's have an honor for it. School. Positions open for all grades. So I would create an environment where students want to put themselves out there. I want them to be out there in school. Yeah, sure.
Hey, good. Well, I love hearing everything that both William and Tracy and Megan had to share. Bad at this too. I'm gonna struggle. That's because so much of what they do in their work helps our college process be more engaging. That really, all right, really, our college process in its essence is about helping students find their story and tell their story to the colleges and universities that they've realized are great fits. And they can't make that story first semester senior year when they're applying. That story really started probably when they were 1 and 2, and you saw it then. You thought, oh my gosh, we have such a spirited child, or our child is so thoughtful, or our child loves nature. And I think about the clubs and the classes that help them grow that story, dig deeper into it, or still also discover it. Sometimes they don't know that yet, and I'm glad for them to be in a community that helps them find it. But really from 9th grade through 12th grade, our goal as college counselors is to know your children and help them know themselves. If they can know themselves, that helps finding that college that's such a great fit valuable. But even more, if they can know themselves, that makes finding a great fit in life valuable. So we do start in 9th grade, really just getting to know them. Okay, go for it. I'm going to be positive. With just getting to know them. And Charlie, do you all remember me, like just finding you in the hallway in ninth grade and randomly talking to you? Okay, I do that because you're fascinating, you all are fascinating people and I like to talk to you. And also I want to get to know you so that when you're senior and you say, I don't know where to go to college, I can be like, wow, remember ninth grade when you said you really loved whatever it was. So really ninth grade, we are being so intentional in getting to know our new students because they are fascinating and we love to hear them. And also because it helps us do our job better. Throughout, keep going for a couple more. Okay, so we also encourage them to get involved. And I feel like college, the reason to do it for college is always the second reason or the third reason. The first reason is if you are involved, you will have a better time. If you are involved, you will get more out of your community. And William creates amazing ways for them to be involved, and Tracy creates amazing ways, and Megan creates ways for them to be involved. And we help encourage them find that thing that makes their clock tick, find the several things that makes their clock tick. And sometimes that's not the first thing. Sometimes you're at the buffet and you try the hummus and you're like, no, not today.
The hummus back here.
Oh, so, we help them know that it's okay to say, that's not for me. Let me try something new. We also encourage them over summers to find something that they love doing. One, because they've got, 2.5 months to do something that's not school, or maybe do something that was school that they love so much more, they want to do more of. We do that. We want them to have a summer that's meaningful to them and full of growth. And reason number 2, we know that colleges would like to know what you do when you weren't doing school. So that's, you'll talk about emails. You'll get emails from me too every March saying, here are a whole bunch of opportunities this summer that we can explore. If that's opportunity is working at Target, awesome. Because colleges want to know that you can operate in the adult world and be responsible and show up on time. If that opportunity is learning to code on Python on your own, great. I know the class to take and I know the class not to take. And then we also, as Megan mentioned, help with course selection. We want to help students find classes that they're excited about, that help them discover passions, and also help demonstrate to colleges that they are ready for advanced level work at that point, not as 9th graders, but by 11th and 12th graders, we want them to choose classes and help them choose classes that play to their strengths and help colleges know that they're ready. Okay, I'll slow down, I get so excited. Okay, so we do, you're going to hear 2 words from me a lot, and you're going to hear them a lot because they're true. We are student focused. I love kids. I've been at collegiate, I think this is my 18th year. And I'm really lucky to have had the opportunity to wear a couple different hats. And one of the hats I've worn here is parent, that I have 3 children who've gone through collegiate and graduated. And I've known a lot of children. I can't imagine 3 children more different than my own. Like they're just, these 2 are here and then the third one's down here. Like, whoa, I can't find the ways to support them, but collegiate found the ways to support them. And it is a school, it is a community where the individual is recognized, the individual is appreciated, and the individual is supported. And as the college counselor, I want the individual to grow to exactly where they want to go. So we are very student-centered. That starts in 9th grade, again, just getting to know them, stopping random 9th graders in the hall and talking to them and hoping they don't think I'm too weird. In 10th grade, again, continuing to get to know them. But we also in 10th grade, our students are matched with a counselor. So students either work with me or my amazing colleague, Dr. Candace Johnson. And that student, that family, that relationship starts then. And we have those sophomore family meetings in 10th grade, really focused again on course selection. Because the classes they choose, they have more choices for those junior, senior years. And classes they choose junior year, sometimes, define a lot of what's going to happen senior year. So we are excited to be a big part of that. With our juniors, that second semester, we meet one-on-one with our students about once a month, just to, how's your testing, SAT, ACT going? Charlie, this is something you guys can look forward to. Once, twice a month. The testing plan, getting the Common App started, and more to just let them know it's all good. I've got this college counseling team that is here to support me, and things aren't going unnoticed. Balls aren't getting dropped, that we've got it. But more, sometimes I think those meetings certainly are for us, but more for the student and the family to know it's good, it's under control, it's taken care of. Seniors, we meet with about once a week for a semester. November 1 is a big day in our office. It's like the April 16th of college counseling. Lots and lots and lots of students on November 1 will send off one, if not all, of their applications. So up until then, we're meeting with each senior individually about once a week. So there's a wonderful support. I had a highlight today. We'll go to the next one, we'll come back. I didn't put a slide there. Okay, it's not there, but I had a highlight today. I had 4 different students submit their applications, and it's such a joy to sit with them and know that on that application is so much information about activities they've been involved in and classes they've worked hard in, and lessons they've learned, and see them hit submit. And literally the Common App, like after you hit submit, is confetti. And I get more excited for their confetti than I think they do. But it's just, and I like knowing that they are happy with the choices they've made. And I like knowing that they know we've got it, that it's all good. So those are kind of some of the benchmarks, but really throughout, it's a fluid process where we are aiming to help them figure out what is it they want in a college experience, what is it they need in a college experience, and then our job is to help them find the schools that match those wants and needs, and we really enjoy that a lot. Okay, so student focused and data driven. Before being a college counselor, I taught math. Sarah Gahan knows there's a lot I love in life, but a good spreadsheet is way high on that list. So we spend so much time looking at the data, and there are so many trends that are happening in college counseling right now, both within the United States and really internationally, that we make it our priority to constantly be researching, constantly be following, and constantly be sharing. Parents get a lot of emails from us just saying, this is what we learned this week. This is what we know right now. Here's the state of things right now. So there are lots of things I'm paying attention to, but probably the 5 biggest, and I bet these are things you've heard a lot about as well, are the test optional trends, application trends as applications are on the rise, early decision trends. That's such a thing now that it wasn't so much a decade ago. Tuition trends and scholarship and how those work together, and admissibility trends. So that's something I just want you all to know. We are constantly researching and sharing what we find with families. So there's an example of a lovely testing policy I found. This is just in case you like to geek out with data. 5 years ago, about 90% of the colleges in the United States required SAT or ACT. Post-COVID, that little red sliver requires SAT or ACT. So that's some of the data that we're really focusing on. This is a picture from today. It didn't come out as well as I hope, but I was just on a webinar, a 45-minute webinar on should a student submit or not submit an SAT or ACT score. This is Akil Bello, who's a national expert on the subject. So it's so, we make time in our day to pay attention to students and be there to support them, and also have the data behind it to make sure that what we're supporting them is absolutely spot on. Okay, I'm done. I'll pass the ball to,
I'm gonna stand in. I am not Paul Augustus, but as you can tell, but I'm gonna stand here and just talk for just a second about our athletic program. Those of you who are at Collegiate, you know that our athletics program is really integrated into our community and is part of our educational experience here, and that is true in the upper school as well. A lot of our students are playing sports. I think we have over 90% of our students playing at least one sport, and I think we have over 50% playing at least playing 3. And so our students are involved and they are trying out new sports. One of my favorite things is when I hear about seniors who are going out for a new team, and I'm like, good for you, because they want to be a part of it. They've seen the experience, they've seen the community, and they feel totally empowered to go out there and try it. And I just, that is so, I think, such an illustration of what the collegiate community is all about. Okay, so this is some information about our incredible athletic department. We have wonderful leaders who are supporting our students at every step and leading incredible programs, and their ability to support our athletes and really take our programs to the next level, I think, is unparalleled. So I'm going to give them a shout out here. Lauren, if you can put me up to the next slide. And then, some differences between high school and middle school sports. So we are playing in the All-A tournament, so we are very competitive in terms of playing our peer schools. Our commitment, our students are really committed to their teams. We want to be competitive. That is not the only reason we play, right? We are playing for multiple reasons, and one of which is so that we could be part of a team and learn what it's like to be a team member. But one of those reasons is to be able to compete at our highest level. And so we're doing all of those things simultaneously, and our students are in. We also have a no-cut policy again, so we really encourage students to be a part of these programs, even if they've never played the sport before. our squash program has exploded. I mean, the squash is huge now in the upper school, and we're so excited about these new facilities that are being built out at Champion Straits. I think we're going to continue to just really kind of support and fuel that program. But we have students who are going out for the swimming program because they really want to be a part of that, and they've got some friends on the program, and they've just become really great swimmers. And then the athletic department purpose that I think Paul and Megan do a great job of really infiltrating into every part of it is to provide that supportive environment for meaningful experiences, right? And they're student athletes. And I think Paul and Megan are coaches. They are around our upper schoolers all the time. They know all of them. This is all integrated into our program, which again, I think shows our students that, again, this is a community in which we know each other. We know all of the experiences that our students are having, and we're really thinking about their entire life when we are putting together any type of opportunity for them, right? How does this fit into their overall picture? Okay, but I'm gonna get to the real stars of the show here. Later up next. Yes, woo, okay. So it's 7:31, but hold on, people, because we've got Georgia Lawrence and Charlie Fitzgerald here, two of our upper school students. And we just wanted to give you a student perspective to close out the night, because they are the true experts of the upper school. So I will turn it over to them. And if you have questions when they are done, please, any of us would love to answer questions, but especially them too. So be thinking about anything that we haven't yet covered or anything you want to hear from them. We would love to hear from that. Okay, well, I'll turn it over to you two, if you don't mind. And this is the microphone for the people at home, or for the recording. So if you guys don't mind, just try to hang around there.
I love that you all still have your lanyards on. That's so
Bravo. Hi, my name is Georgia Lawrence. I'm a current sophomore at Collegiate. I came here in 8th grade, and my favorite thing about Collegiate, I'd say, is the multitude, or the diverse multitude of classes that were offered. Right now, we get a lot of opportunities to speak to college counselors and college representatives about different schools, and a lot of them speak a lot about the liberal arts approach and how they like to use a lot of humanities and STEM classes and kind of combine them together. I think Collegiate does a really good job of doing that in a way that's not intimidating for younger students.
My name is Charlie Fitzgerald. I am a junior, and I've been at Collegiate since 2nd grade. I would say my favorite thing is just the intellectual curiosity around campus. I feel like I love it so much. I can just walk around and see people doing work. Like in advisory today, I walk in and people are just doing math problems on the board. I just think it's so cool that even during our breaks and throughout the entire school day, that people are taking advantage of the opportunity to learn and to grow their minds. I come every morning and I sit right there actually at that desk in the morning. I get here at 7:15 just because I want to kickstart my day. And I just, it makes my morning to see people just walking through the library, coming in, doing work, and then asking teachers for questions and CWB in the morning. It's just, that's my favorite part, is that we're always learning, we're always curious. Yeah.
That is true, every morning. Do you all have any questions?
Yeah, Q&A, any questions? Yes, I do both. We were both in theater together, and I also play lacrosse.
I play tennis and do.
I ask, how is it doing both, right? Can you do both? And what is that like?
I can do both. My parents are very sweet and drive me everywhere. So I can do both. I think that a lot of teachers repeat this motif about self-advocacy. They really want you to be able to speak for yourself. And I think if a student knows their limit, they'll be able to vocalize that to the teacher, coach, administrator, and be able to tell them, hey, this isn't going to work for me. And I think all the teachers are pretty willing to hear that. I've never had a teacher be strict with me and tell me that I couldn't do something. So I think it's possible. Just know your limit. Obviously, you can't do, how many clubs do you have now? Over 40? You can't do all 40 clubs, but you can do 5 or 6, maybe. Yeah. It depends. Just know yourself and know your limits and know your general schedule. It's really easy to do. I know there's they try to have a 2-week commitment thing. Like if you join an activity, you're usually given a few weeks to feel it out with your schedule. And if it doesn't work, if it's too much of a commitment, you can drop it without it being too much of a task.
I will say I did it last year, two sports actually, and theater as well in the fall and spring. And as part of the theater class, we do some extra productions than the ones that the whole high school are open to. This year, my classes are a lot harder. I went a big jump in difficulty. And I'm doing the play as well. And right now I'm able to handle it really well. I'm also in clubs as well. So we'll see when springtime comes and the cross season starts up, but I'll be able to handle it. I'm pretty confident.
Quick question. So Georgia, you mentioned you started in 8th grade and then, 2nd grade, right? So you both were in the middle school. So just quickly, how was the transition in terms of activities, but also work? Like, do you feel like middle school, like you were getting sort of a hint of what upper school would be in terms of homework, or did you see a big upsurge, or how did that?
I transitioned from a public school and it was right after we had the break year. So it actually wasn't that difficult for me to transition. We started the year out in 8th grade virtually, and then we transitioned, I think after the first quarter, and then we came in person. It was really easy for me to get the work done. The teachers were really lenient with me. I think it's easy. It was easy for me. I know I didn't actually shadow before I came here. I toured with Ms. Anderton, and then I came to a few meetings with teachers, but the workload it actually was kind of similar to what I was doing at my school before. As far as the classes, I think the structure was the hardest thing for me to adapt to, was the different stuff, because I know my science class kind of operated on more of a lecture style, especially when we were virtual. And then in my former school, it was more like hands-on, but I think the school takes a hands-on approach as well. But I think it's definitely more in all of the classes, it's more instruction-based. A lot of the teachers stand at the front, they tell you everything you need to do, and then they give you time to converse with your peers and interpret the work in your own way. So I think it really depends on your being able to converse with other people, hear their perspectives, and then incorporate it into your own work. If that's the type of success that you want.
Yeah, I'll say I think as well, especially going from 5th to 6th, that was the first, big jump for me. Because when I came to middle school, 5th grade wasn't a part. It was still in lower school. So that was a jump. But I think it was awesome in middle school. Each year was it was a perfectly balanced, gradual increase in workload. And going from middle school to high school definitely was a jump. There's no question that it wasn't just smooth sailing right up there. But it was 100% manageable. It wasn't something that I couldn't do. So I think definitely the transition between middle school and high school is significant, but it is 100% manageable for me. And I know the people around me. So yeah, I would say it's a good transition.
I want to get your opinions on taking classes in high school for potential college credit, whether they're AP or not AP. What do you think about that and the pros and cons to doing that stuff?
Yeah. So I'm in a couple AP classes this year. I had one last. In 5. I'm in 5. My schedule's pretty heavy. But
How many discussions did we have about your schedule? More than 5.
I changed the day before school started this year, so it was pretty, cutting it close. But in terms of the opportunity there is incredible. The fact that I can take these rigorous classes at this level in high school and have it potentially count for a credit is like so awesome. Just because for me, it's not much of an issue because I'm interested in so many stuff. I don't know what I want to do. I'm still very naive about like the world. So I'm not sure exactly what I want to focus on in my life. So that's why it's so nice to be able to get all this stuff out of the way, right? If I do end up using these as credits in college, I can explore everything. I can just have like an open slate to kind of figure out what I want to do. And I think that's so cool. But
Yeah, I agree. There's a lot of room to explore in the schedule. I'm taking my first AP class this year. They do offer APs. They call them advanced on the schedule, but they offer the AP test and they offer a semester final for both of them. So I think as far as major exams goes, it's actually not too difficult. You're able to kind of maneuver your way through loopholes and things. But if you want to ever have a conversation about the rigor of your schedule, if it's too much, if it's not, Ms. Sharpenberger's really helpful with that. That conversation, the last minute conversations with her before too, I made her tell me that I couldn't do something because I'm really, and especially if you're indecisive like me and Charlie, it's really helpful to be able to speak with an adult who can tell you, this isn't gonna work. So like, we're still children, so we kind of.
I'm totally okay telling them no. They both know.
But yeah, I think especially with the STEM classes, if you're looking for more rigor, it's definitely something that you're going to want to have a conversation about. But if it's something humanities like an AP history, a dedicated history course, a dedicated English course, I think they're all based in your own interest. But I think with those, it's more specifically your own opinion and knowing what you're interested in and taking, and then being able to talk to an administrator and have them help you work out a schedule that's going to be feasible.
So a couple of things on that, so she said, she was like, we call them advanced, not AP. There's a reason we do that. So because I teach an AP course. So if you call your class AP, you are stuck with exactly what College Board requires you to do. And we like to personalize our curriculum, and we like to kind of like tweak it and be creative and be innovative with it. And so we call them advanced. But so, for example, right now I'm teaching advanced government politics. I am preparing them to take that test at the end of the year. Most of them will end up taking that exam at the end of the year. And for the most part, I follow the College Board curriculum because I think it's a really good curriculum. But like, there are times where like, I want to do something of my own, right? That I feel is in the best interest of our students, to personalize it. And so that's the reason we call it advanced and not AP. And I think also too, talking about interests with the advanced courses, I love the fact that like, I would never be a good candidate to take advanced, BC calculus. It was just not going to be on my path, right, in life. But, I could take government and politics. I could take macroeconomics. I could take these other advanced options. So it is really great in terms of like, if you might not necessarily be on a pathway to take advanced physics C, but it doesn't exclude you from taking an advanced level course at our school. And in fact, a lot of our social science and advanced courses start to become offered sophomore year because one, you blend them. You can take it as an honors level or an advanced level. Okay, we kind of individualize the curriculum within our class. But two, it gives students an opportunity to take their first advanced class to get to see, is this really the path that I should be taking? Okay, is this a good class for me? Okay, so just a couple of clarifications.
Yeah.
I have one more question, if anyone has a final question.
I'm gonna put you guys on the spot, okay? What is one thing that maybe you haven't heard us say so far that you all feel like is special about the other school?
Okay, I wasn't here the whole time, so I'm not
Yeah,
sure. But
yeah.
something super special, I think, is the amount of time offered to speak with teachers about everything. Did you talk about that? I'm not sure.
No, good.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, anyway, so like in the morning, we have like a dedicated CWP time from like 7:45 to 8:15. And then we also have it built into our block schedule. So we were always given time that is dedicated for us to go speak with our teachers if we need to extra help on anything. And that time is so valuable as I found in my schedule. Because they're there and they're willing to, they don't just want to help you, they want to see you succeed. And they want me to see, they want me to learn. I think that's just the coolest thing. I love it so much. It's so special to be able to always have teachers who are not just willing to teach me, but willing to let me into a path that will succeed. And
I think the amount of outlets for personalization and creativity within the upper school are what makes it different from a lot of other schools in our district. For example, I started a fashion club at school this year, and we're having a clothes drive. And it's actually going really well. Well, I haven't emailed you about it yet. But so, if you have any posts, drop them off here. But like, if you can't, if there's something that you want to do with the upper school and you don't see it or hear about it, it's not impossible. If you speak to someone, and especially if there's a group of people that you're willing, a student specifically, that you're willing to get on board with you and have interested friends. Like I have a bunch of friends with crazy ideas that we're doing things. And if you want to do something, I think to be inclusive of other students in the school, I think that's really possible, especially I know if you want to think about it on a college level, that looks really unique to different colleges to say, oh, I was interested in fish and we started a fish club at my school or something crazy. Like we just have all sorts of different things. And I think a lot of it is student generated. A lot of the things that student parents may view as odd or anything, it's student generated, and it's because that we're given outlets and different ways to be innovative within the school that's possible.
Thanks. Thank you guys so much for coming. I just want to wrap up with you all. So for new families, the admission process, we would love you guys to visit this fall. Thank you for coming tonight. If you'll like a tour during the school day, we would love to have you. And part of the application process is actually having your student for a shadow day. So we would love your students to come shadow sometime between now and early December. The application process is all online, so I don't need to get into all of those details with you guys. Current families, you guys do not apply for high school. You're just get a re-enrollment contract like every other year. I get a call a couple times a week actually from 8th grade families saying, how do I apply for the high school? You don't have to apply. You just get your re-enrollment contract in late January. And you'll have about 3 weeks, or actually about 2 weeks this year, I believe, to sign up for next year. We're so pleased with how our inquiries and applications are going. We've had, I think, 52 prospective students come and look at collegiate next year, which is amazing. We have 61 students in our 8th grade class. Usually about between 80 and 90% of those students move up to the high school. So that tells you we really feel like we'll probably have a wait pool for 9th grade next year, which is a great thing for the school. We'll be able to welcome, we think, between 15 and 20 new students. And our target enrollment for 9th grade is about 75 students. We're a 5-section high school, so there's 5 freshman English classes for example. I also wanted to just touch briefly on our Merit Scholars application process for new students. It's really part of the admission application process, but then there's a separate online Merit Scholars application, but it's not a separate test. It's the same assessment that you'll take as part of the admission process with us. For current students, you'll complete the online Merit Scholars application. There's a teacher recommendation form that our students will send to an 8th grade teacher. You'll RSVP to the admissions team, to Ryan or myself, or our admission mailbox, and choose your preferred date. There's 2 Saturday mornings in January to choose from to come in and take our merit assessment. And those applications for merit, our merit program, are due January 4th. You guys will have seen our merit information, so it's an experience for our students. They do different things when they're a freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior. It's something that lasts all 4 years. We do different trip usually. One time at a college this year, we're looking at going into a program at Vanderbilt for a few days and doing some college visits while we're down there. It also comes with the monetary award and some leadership opportunities throughout high school. So I would encourage you to think about having your student apply. I do want to emphasize it's a student-led process, so please have your student do it. If you guys have questions, encourage your students to reach out to me. I'm happy to answer any questions, as is Ms. Gahan. We are super excited to talk with them. Even for our 8th grade families, please come visit the high school. Feel free to have a tour with me. I would love to show you all around. We'd love to show you during a normal school day. You are welcome. I don't know how much you guys know about the high school. I'm so glad and grateful for you all coming tonight, but it's amazing. So please come and do a tour with me.
Does anybody have any questions before we leave? I know we've kept you a really long time and we're super grateful for you all sitting through that.
Step up
Oh,
day.
Our current eighth grade students, thank you, Ryan, have a step up day in our high school. So they will all, our current eighth graders will all get to shadow on November 2nd. It's one of our professional development days that starts at 10. So they'll come in directly to the high school. They'll have a personalized schedule based on their preferences that our upper school team designs for them. And then they go home at the end of the day. If they want to come back and shadow on another day, they are certainly welcome to. Most of our students find the step up day is super helpful and they get a really good overview of the clubs, of the classes. They meet a lot of teachers, they meet student leaders, but they are certainly welcome to come for a shadow day as well. So just let us know. Thank you. Thank you guys so much for coming. We appreciate it. And we hope to see you soon. Thank you.